Live from the TD Bankworth Garden, the new garden in Boston, FSN Houston presents Houston Rockets basketball. And tonight, it's the Rockets taking on the Boston Celtics. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Worrell. Good to have you with us here tonight as the Rockets play the third game on this road trip, a back-to-back affair. And people were saying the last week or so, what's wrong with the Houston Rockets? Well, you saw it last night. They just had to get number one back, Tracy McGrady. As soon as he came back, they were able to win a game in New Jersey. He scored 20 of the 29 points in the fourth quarter by Houston, and he made sure that the Rockets won that game to go in 2-3 on the season. Now, Matt Bullard, how will his back feel in a back-to-back and an early game here tonight?
Well, there's only 22 hours between the two games last night and tonight. I expect his back will be pretty sore, although he told me it feels okay. He did say that he's tired, though. He said he's tired. It's a back-to-back. He's not in great shape, so we'll see how he does tonight.
Well, but he was unbelievable last night. Richard Jefferson, I felt sorry for Richard, one of the best defensive players in the NBA, and he just could not stay with McGrady. McGrady hit a stretch of 4 straight.
Well, Tracy McGrady, according to Bill Worrell, had one of his best games of all time last night. An incredible performance coming off of being out for 2 weeks, scoring all over the court. 35 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and 3 block shots. Got it done on both ends of the court. That shot right there was ridiculous. You see right here, doesn't matter. You can't stop that guy. He put his team on his sore back, and he carried them to victory.
Matt, I called it one of his best games, maybe of his career. I still go back to the win over San Antonio when he had 13 in 35 seconds, and that was a victory. But the Rockets would have scored only 9 points without him last night in the fourth quarter. They'd had another heartbreaking. That's why I called it a vintage McGrady game.
Well, his performance was great, but the way he carried his team to victory, I think, is what you're talking about. Yeah. His team had lost 3 games in a row, losing leads in the fourth quarter. When T-Mac is on the court, his teammates just seem to pick up their game as well.
Rockets, one of the oldest teams in the NBA, going against one of the youngest here, except for Paul Pierce. He's an 8-year veteran, and this guy is averaging almost a double-double a game.
Well, the thing about Paul Pierce is he has scored a lot of points in his career, but how he's done it is by taking a lot of shots. This year, he is shooting 50% from the field. That is unheard of for Paul Pierce. 28 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Over the last 5 years, there's only 2 players in the NBA that have scored 10,000 points and had 700 steals. Allen Iverson and Paul Pierce, so he is definitely getting it done.
And Boston has young guard play, and that might give the Rockets a little bit of a problem.
Well, the young guards, Ricky Davis, another Iowa guy, he's having a great year, and also Delonte West is playing fantastic, a second-year guy out of St. Joe's. So not only is this a Paul Pierce one-man team, there are 2 other guys on this team that can score.
It's time for the Toyota Power Team. Keys to the game.
Well, obviously, number 1, slow down Paul Pierce. He's having a great season. Key number 2, contain the guards. We talked about Delonte West, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and Ricky Davis, 17 points and 5 rebounds. And then key number 3, sit back and watch T-Mac.
Well, you can sit back and watch him. He'd like to get some help, especially from Yao Ming in the middle. Robin loves to have Batman back, and that's what's happened right now, and maybe they can get together for a Rockets victory tonight. We'll be back with a tip-off from the new garden in just a moment on FSN Houston. Hi again, everybody, and welcome back to the Boston Garden, the new garden as they call it, here in downtown Boston, Massachusetts, as we're just about ready to go with NBA basketball. The Rockets now, after 3 losses in a row, will try to win back-to-back victories. And here tonight, Southwest Airlines starting lineups. For the Houston Rockets, Juwan Howard, Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming, Derek Anderson, and Rafer Alston. And the Boston Celtics, with those 16 championship banners hanging from the rafters of this building, will start with Paul Pierce, Rafe LaFrentz, Mark Blunt, Delonte West, and Ricky Davis. Yao Ming trying to get the Rockets going as we get ready to go here from the Boston Garden. We'll have the tip-off coming your way in just a moment. Welcome back to the new garden in Boston as the Rockets are about to do battle with the Boston Celtics. These 2 old rivals going all the way back to 1980 and 81 when they met in the NBA Finals and in 1986, back in the days of Larry Bird. And, of course, Hakeem Olajuwon, Moses Malone in the 1980 series. Jeff Van Gundy will be leading the way for the Houston Rockets, and he said, boy, did you notice how much smarter a coach I was last night in New Jersey with Tracy McGrady back. So Jeff Van Gundy leading the way for Houston, and Doc Rivers will be the coach for the Boston Celtics. And Rivers entering his second season as the head coach of the Boston Celtics. 45 wins last year for Boston, the first Atlantic Division title for the Celtics since the 91-92 season, and he was NBA Coach of the Year, joining Tom Heinsohn, Bill Fitch, and the legendary Red Auerbach. Pretty good company.
Yeah.
Doc's a good guy. He played 13 seasons in the NBA, started out with Atlanta, then played with the Spurs to finish his career, and drafted out of Marquette University. So here we are, ready to go now. Yao will jump center, and Blunt tries to win the tip, and it's knocked out of bounds by, well, all of the officials are looking, and no one knows. They'll have to jump it over again.
Re-jump it.
The officials all looking at each other there on the first play. Violet Palmer, Jess Kersey, and Sean Corbin. Palmer, Kersey, and Corbin, the officials for tonight's game.
Apparently they weren't ready for the opening tip. they didn't see who knocked it out. Great hustle by Derek Anderson to even make that play something out of nothing.
Well, you know, it looked like Boston would have possession of it, so they ran off to the other end of the court. So when it came back to this end, there wasn't an official down here. So now it's going to be Rafe LaFrentz jumping against Derek Anderson, and Jeff Van Gundy saying, why those two? Why couldn't it be Delonte West? Oh, I agree with Jeff. It was Delonte West, and of course that gives the Celtics an easy win on the jump ball.
You notice how Van Gundy, he fights for every possession.
Yeah.
You know, and that's important even in an early game like this, in the early season. Every possession matters.
Ricky Davis from the outside with a miss. Long rebound to Pierce. These are tight rims. You shot on them early tonight when we came out here, and that you're going to have some long rebounds, aren't you?
Yeah, rims are very tight here. I've never felt like I shot well in either garden. But you see, Mark Blunt right there, if you're going to make a shot, just don't use the rim. Just swish it.
Yeah, Mark Blunt had a big game against the Rockets when they came here last year.
He was quoted in the paper this morning saying he needs more touches on offense.
And Yao Ming with the miss.
He had to guard Tim Duncan in the previous game, and now he's got to guard Yao Ming. And he said, if I got to play defense on these guys, as Tracy McGrady travels, if I have to play defense on these guys, I need to get some touches on the offense, too, to make them work.
Yeah. Well, folks, Matt Bullard came out in his suit about 2 hours before the game and made 7 out of 10 threes and said, let's go eat dinner.
Time for dessert.
Yeah, it didn't bother you any. Ricky Davis taking it inside. He misses, and it's tipped outside by Yao. And Derek Anderson will bring it up.
I just walked into the New Garden, Bill, and I was just pumped up. I was ready to play.
New Garden's been here a while, but they changed names this season.
Yeah, it used to be the Fleet Center, and now it's, what is it?
It's the TD Bank
North.
Oh, excuse me.
Just call it the New Garden.
That's right. That's what all I'm going to say the rest of the game. I couldn't say TD Bank North anyway. Delonte West with a bad shot from the corner.
Not one of those names that just rolls off your tongue.
No. I like the Boston Garden. All right, Yao's going to take it down deep. That sets up Rafer Alston. He's wide open, and he misses. And Juwan Howard with another offensive rebound. Quickly, Rafer with a layup, and he's short again. Rafer Alston really having trouble getting going offensively this season. Done a pretty good job of running the team. He just can't find his shot, and they're starting to back off of him now, and that's going to be bad for the Rockets. He's going to have to hit that open jumper.
That's a shot that he can make. He just needs to find his confidence, find his rhythm, and if they're going to start leaving him open, then that makes it easier on him.
Well, Mark Blunt hits again.
Well, one thing to say something in the paper, another thing is to back it up. And if he's going to keep making jump shots like that, Yao's going to have to come out on him.
Blunt, of course, not a part of the offense for Boston. In the corner, another miss by Houston.
Well, Rayford, he's just got to keep shooting that shot. If they're going to give it to him, he's got to shoot it. And if he doesn't make it, then it's the coach's job to take him out.
And Paul Pierce goes inside on the drive, almost tipped in, and is kicked out of bounds by Houston. So the Rockets 0 for 5 to start the game. Austin 0 for 3, and Yao 0 for 2. Doc Rivers didn't want to talk about offense after that San Antonio game. He said, my players have to learn to play defense.
Yep. And that defense is one thing that the Celtics are playing much better this year. Among the league leaders in fewest fast break points, Houston Rockets being number 1.
And LaFrentz hits a 3. So Boston off to a terrific start.
Those guys from Iowa can really shoot, Bill.
A left-hander, too.
Yeah. Of course, Ray grew up in Iowa, went to Kansas for college. That was one of the major controversies. Rafe leaving Iowa to go to Kansas. We'll see here. Ooh, Paul Pierce.
No, he's faking it.
Is he faking it?
Well, look at him. He was trying to get a shot, and he passed off to LaFrentz. He's fine.
I think he got a little Charlie horse there on his leg.
Trying to act a little bit, get the call. The Rockets need a basket now, so they go to number 1. Pierce is right up in his face.
It's a good choice.
Good cover-up by Pierce. That's going to be a turnover by Houston. Davis has it in the open court to LaFrentz. LaFrentz gets it back again, puts it up and in.
Not the prettiest of fast breaks, but the Celtics able to get the job done. Good defense there by Paul Pierce on Tracy McGrady. That was something he talked about in the paper, how he thinks he should be.
Goaltending on LaFrentz.
Paul Pierce thinks he should be among the league leaders in defense as well, and he's going to have to back that up tonight playing against T-Mac.
At the top with Blunt. They'll run a bunch of baseline picks for Pierce and Davis. Delonte West on the double team. Gives it up down to 7 seconds. Good defense by Houston. Rockets really did a number on the Nets last night, especially in that first half. They took Carter right out of the game. Well, Juwan now is back to his old tricks, and that's hitting that jumper from the top, and he'll get a lot of good looks.
Boston must have watched the tape from the Nets game last night. They double-teamed Yao before Yao even had the ball, and that's what opened up Juwan Howard.
And on the pass-off, a foul by Tracy McGrady.
Watch this defense by Paul Pierce on T-Mac. Just stayed in front of him. Used a little bit of physical play, but was able to get the steal.
And they're the same size. That's going to be a little different now for T-Mac. Normally has a guard on him just a little smaller. And he tried to fall back on his jump shot then, and Pierce, there's a great move by Delonte West. West, 6'4", out of St. Joe's, had a good rookie year last year for the Celtics. Celtics did a good job of drafting last year. They got him a couple of nice guards. There's a turnover again, and Davis with a slam. This is not the way the Rockets wanted to start tonight.
No, this Celtics team is a front-running type team. If they get the momentum, they can really push out the lead.
Jeff Van Gundy wants to call a timeout. 28% shooting by Houston, 55% by the Celtics. 13-4, Boston lead early. Boston up early, 13-4. Let's take a look at tonight's McDonald's League leaders. And there it is, youngest teams in the NBA. The Boston Celtics, number 3, and your Rockets are at the bottom of that, aren't they, Matt?
Well, if I can write it in, 30.19 for the Rockets. They second oldest team in the league. San Antonio Spurs are older, but the Rockets have more NBA experience.
Yeah, about 7.5 per man. There's T-Mac coming off a pick, sets up Anderson, gets it right back, fakes Pierce in the air. Right for Austin, drops it down. Juwan, 3 seconds, down to 2. Juwan puts it up and in at the buzzer.
A little arch on that one, didn't he?
Yeah, so Juwan Howard, the only Rocket to make a basket. He's made a couple. Well, along with Yao. Yao got a goaltender. Davis. Blunt over Yao Ming. Missed it badly. Shot clock still running. Pierce Fall away from outside, off the back of the iron, and DA with a rebound. Mark Blunt had his season high last year of 22 points against Yao Ming and the Rockets. There's a miss by Anderson. So if you leave him open, he can hit that little 10 to 12 footer. What was that, the triple post? Yeah. LaFrentz from the outside. One thing that Rafe has always been able to do is shoot that ball, huh?
And look at Van Gundy's face right there. And Rafe LaFrentz, after he hit that shot, he ran down the court looking at Van Gundy's reaction. You gonna leave me open like that or what?
Another turnover by Houston. LaFrentz is 6'11", but he's really an outside player. He doesn't battle much inside. This is his 8th year in the league.
Well, let's watch this T-Mac going baseline, and the ball does go off of his leg. Another good defensive play from Paul Pierce. T-Mac thought there was a little contact, a little foul, but it looked like Paul got all ball.
Rockets look like they played last night.
Yeah, 22 hours ago.
This happens in the NBA, though, where a team will have a run of back-to-back games. Rockets will play 4 back-to-backs this month. McGrady with the rebound. They'll come back after playing San Antonio midweek and have to play Detroit Friday night in Houston. So it's just a stopover in Houston for 1 game. Juwan misses, and the rebound to Boston. And a foul on Houston.
It's on T-Mac.
Tracy McGrady, yeah, with 2 fouls. Tracy said, I wasn't even close to the play. Wait a minute.
I think the call is actually on Derek Anderson. Yep, it is. They're going to change it now, and we'll watch the replay here. I guess we won't. But anyway, it looked like Derek Anderson was the player who reached in and fouled Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce shooting 2 free throws. Independently already with 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Look at that field goal percentage, 50%.
Yeah, it's amazing what he's done in his career. And of course, Doc Rivers, there's always talk about Pierce being traded every year in the offseason. They say, well, Boston's looking to get rid of Pierce and seeing if they can get a couple of players. But it's hard to get rid of a guy that averages in his career 23 points a game.
Well, and he's having a great year now. Obviously, shooting 50% is way better than his career average. It's usually around 40%, which means he jacks up a bunch of shots, but he's shooting a lot better percentage so far.
Rockets need to get on their horse. They don't want to dig too deep a hole here early. Yao Ming turns and shoots it over Blunt for 2. So Yao Ming with 4 points.
Nice post move that time. Yao was able to figure out what the defense was giving him and take it.
Delonte West from the outside with a miss, and Yao with a rebound.
T-Mac's having a hard time scoring against Paul Pierce. I think we should get the ball to Yao inside.
Or McGrady to the basket. How about that? And he draws the foul.
Well, that'll work too.
I had the benefit of seeing this drive. He was right in front of us. Well, when Pierce lets him get that step and seal him off,
that was a nice move by Tracy McGrady. He was able to get that first step out past the defender, going to his right, which is his strength. This is the free throw.
Up ahead to Davis. And he got it back. It looked like it was going to be a steal. And now Yao Ming with a rebound. And a loose ball foul is called on Rafe LaFrentz. You know, we talk about McGrady. The Rockets now are 4-0 in return games for T-Mac. Last season, McGrady was out of the lineup 3 times for a total of 4 games. And each time he came back, the Rockets were able to win. And last night was one of those games. He just would not allow the Rockets to lose last night. Down to 9 seconds. Shot clock. Yao Ming has it, and an offensive foul on Yao. That's a tough call.
That's a tough call. I don't think that's a foul on Yao. Yao is making a post move to the basket. He's so much bigger than his defender. Let's watch here. Yao just turns, and that's terrible. That's terrible. Well, Yao's got to be able to make a post move even against a smaller player without getting a foul like that.
LaFrentz hits again. You think they may have changed up their defense on him? LaFrentz with 11 points already in this game.
Well, he's got 3 threes, and Jeff Van Gundy not happy at all. talking with Yao right there, saying, you got to get out on Rafe LaFrentz. Now, that's something that Yao is not used to, guarding a center like Rafe, who's going to be able to shoot threes. And that's the position that I was always in. I always loved to play center because those centers don't want to come out and guard you.
Yeah, well, it's a tough situation when you have a man like that. Of course, a lot of games he's not hitting 4 for 5 from the outside, but he certainly is here tonight. It poses a different problem for you.
The thing about being a three-point shooter, if you can get your first one to fall and then your second one to fall, then you start rolling. And Rafe is 4 for 5 now. He's really got it going, so now you're going to have to get out on him, and that's going to open up the inside. You watch the pass back out there, he's wide open.
Well, Rafe averages only 9 points a game, and he has 11 already.
He's one of those guys that just spaces the floor. He gives Ricky Davis and Paul Pierce the room that they need to penetrate, and then he's out there if they need him. And right now, the Rockets defense is collapsing inside, and Rafe LaFrentz is taking advantage of it.
Jeff Van Gundy still talking to Sean Corbin about that flop by Blunt. Gal's got to have some room inside to operate. Chasing T-Mac all over the court. And he hits. Long 2, he had his toe on the line. They were chasing him as soon as he got across the midcourt line last night in New Jersey, and it didn't do any good. Davis back outside. Blunt will shoot it. He misses, and the rebound to Houston. 21-12. Celtics jumped out to that early lead, led by as many as 12 points.
21-12.
T-Mac on the miss.
21-12 is one of my favorite songs. Do you know who sings it?
Not Willie Nelson.
No, it's not Willie Nelson.
Okay. Well, that's the only guess I had. Woo! Well, Rafe LaFrentz, I guess the Rockets are going to try to guard him here pretty soon, aren't they?
Well,
although he was way outside then.
Yeah. You may want to put one of the other Iowa boys in. Oh, see, there you go. That's
shoot it, yeah.
Yao's got to shoot it. If his defender's going to flop, that gives Yao a wide open shot. He's got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, now you got Doc Rivers arguing for a foul inside, but they called the flop and didn't call the foul. 2:31 left to play in the first quarter, and the Rockets ice cold. To 12. In fact, Rafe LaFrentz has 14, and the Rockets have the 12. So
let's watch Rafe LaFrentz.
Do we have to?
Well, he's 4 for 4 from the three-point line. He's got more points than the Rockets do right now. I guess we'll see if we can see any Rockets defenders around him.
Well, he's already tied his season high, so it's all gravy for him from here on out. LaFrentz looking down to Blunt now. As Pierce comes around the corner, chased and blocked by Mutombo. Blunt taking it inside, blocked by Mutombo. Gomes tries to take it up. Blunt takes it up, and the shot clock went off, but they're going to count it.
Third time was a charm there for the Celtics.
Luther Head has now checked into the game for Houston at point. Delonte West trying to stay with him, and an offensive foul is called on Juwan Howard. 1:54 left in the first. LaFrentz. Gomes coming off that pick, goes up for the shot and missed it. He was the draft choice by the Celtics in the second round this year, and almost a steal. A lot of people thought he should have been a first rounder.
The draft was very deep this year, Bill. A lot of players in the second round sticking on NBA teams and actually making contributions.
Yeah, there were some general managers that said the NBA draft could have been 3 rounds this year. Good defense by Boston. 3 seconds, down to 2. Luther Head puts it up. Off the rim, won't go. Good rebound by Mutombo. Sets up David Wesley. Sets his feet. Fires, misses. Pierce will pop outside now. Looks for a pick. Blunt picked up by Wesley. No trouble shooting over David. Well, get a load of this. Blunt has 8. LaFrentz has 14. How about that? That's 22 of the 28 points scored by Boston.
I guarantee you that the Rockets coaches did not expect those two guys to go off in the first quarter.
28-12, shot clock at 5 seconds. Juwan Howard, no hesitation with the miss. Rebound goes right back to Tracy McGrady.
That's 2 times that Mutombo's been inside on the offensive rebounds to give his team another possession. That's the type of play that Mutombo can make for you, an aggressive play that keeps your hopes alive.
Double team on McGrady, no shot clock, down to 8 seconds. Wesley floats it up, missed it, and knocked out of bounds by Boston with 4.2 left. As we have more substitutions now, Al Jefferson will check in, the youngster straight out of high school, drafted by Indiana.
So every time T-Mac has the ball, there's a double team around him. That's the problem with having a great game last night is the Celtics coaches saw that and are making sure that he doesn't get started tonight.
Justin Reed will check in too, so small lineup for Doc Rivers as for this final possession now. Jeff Van Gundy will go back with Yao Ming and John Barry, along with T-Mac and Wesley. Luther Head will bring it in. 4.2 left. Good pass to Yao, and he's fouled.
Love that play. That's a great inbounds play. Yao and Tracy McGrady just working off each other inside. Let's watch it. Yao comes over and sets a pick, and then he just rolls right to the hoop. See how Blunt got turned around. I guess that was Perkins.
Yeah.
And Yao taking advantage of the youngster inside.
Big Kendrick Perkins. And a miss by Yao. 2 seconds. Down to 1. Dickow does not get it off in time. So a good first quarter by Rafe LaFrentz with 14, Blunt with 8, and the Boston Celtics with 28. The Rockets manage only 14, looking for offense. Big first quarter for the Boston Celtics. Rockets have some work to do. Well, let's see now. They'll start it out with Stromile Swift, Dikembe Mutombo, Luther Head, Wesley, and John Barry. Rockets are deep. See if this group can work.
Yep. Jeff Van Gundy trying to find some energy off his bench, some guys that have some intensity. That was a foul. Holy.
Boy, Scalabrini came out and just put the shoulder into Stromile Swift and creates the turnover. Scalabrini's one of those guys, he'll spend more time on the floor than he will. Bryan's out of USC in his 5th season. Dohm shoots it and misses, and Luther Head with a rebound. Dan Dickow playing a little defense.
I want to see this Luther Head, Dan Dickow matchup. I think Luther can go to work on Dickow.
Nice head fake by Luther Head will get him to the free throw line. Really been impressed by Luther so far in the regular season.
He's done a good job of coming in and not doing things that he can't do, but definitely the things that he can, he does very well, and he comes in with a lot of confidence, comes in with the right attitude. He wants to learn, he wants to play hard, and as a coach, you've got to love a rookie like Luther Head coming in and having the kind of start that he's having to this season.
Gets the free throw to go so far. Luther shooting 41%. He's 5 of 12 from behind the three-point line for 42%.
Finally, the Rockets get 2 free throws to go. They're 2 for 4 from the line. But like you said, Luther had 42% from the three-point line. A lot of rookies struggle with that extra distance, but not Luther.
Scalabrini outside to Davis. Gomes, Dickow, good shooter from the outside. Got to stay right up on him. 5 seconds, down to 4 on the shot clock. And Dickow hits a 3. You believe the three-point shooting by the Celtics, 5 of 9 here in the early going, 56%. Rockets 0 for 5 behind the arc.
Rockets had 13 threes last night.
Yeah.
7 of them in the fourth quarter.
Most of T-Mac, coupled by Wesley. Stromile Swift, working baseline on Scalabrini, waited his turn, took it up, drew the foul.
Good patience by Stromile Swift. He knows he's got an advantage. Scalabrini cannot stay with Swift's quickness, and we'll watch here. Well, here's Dan Dickow. You know he's going to shoot it. He put on the line. Did they call that a 3? His foot was definitely on the line there. But you know Dickow's going to shoot the ball. Strohmeyer-Swift on the other end. Has the mismatch. Scalabrini cannot stay with him. Good patience by Strohmeyer to take it to the hole and draw the foul.
Strohmeyer so far this season, 10 of 13 for 76% from the free throw line. He'll have one more.
You jinxed him.
I won't say anything next time. Well, this is a luxury now for Doc Rivers to go deep into his bench with this big lead early, 31-17. And a foul by John Barry. That's the first on John. Right now, the Rockets, Matt, can't get into anything, and defensively, they're allowing the Celtics to take the long-range shot, and they're making it.
The Celtics shooting a good percentage from long range. The Rockets, I think, their defense, the main emphasis is to keep people out of the middle, and the Celtics have just come out hot and hitting these three-point shots, and now, as they continue to hit outside shots, the Rockets are going to have to come out on them and force them to drive.
Well, that's their strength. Their strength isn't the middle, is it? Their strength is really from their guards and from Pierce. There's Swift. Oh, Strohmeyer-Swift with a move to the basket.
There's some energy.
Maybe he'll have a big game. He'll need it tonight.
He needs to keep that up. His teammates need to start giving him the ball. Let him see what he can do with it.
Al Jefferson just, if that's not a charge, I don't know what it is. He ran right over Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah, he just flattened Mount Mutombo.
Yeah, well, with his backside.
Yeah, and if that would have been Yao, they would have probably called a flagrant foul on Yao.
John Barry.
Woo! That's nice. JB for three.
Yeah, he was in the tunnel somewhere when he shot that.
He's shooting 47% from the three-point line this year. He figures, hey, I'm going to get one up and get us back in this game.
Doc Rivers really upset, and he's leading it by 13. Celtics with some phenomenal outside shooting and a 13-point lead. Let's take a look at tonight's Wachovia uncommon theme, Matt.
Yao Ming, 7'6", Dikembe Mutombo, 7'2", two of the top 10 guys as far as height in the NBA, yet the Rockets are the 9th shortest team in the NBA. Average height, 6 feet, almost 7 inches. That's still pretty tall, wouldn't you think?
That is uncommon.
It is. The Rockets like to go with a small lineup. They did that last night in the fourth quarter, and I guess that's because they're one of the 9th shortest teams.
They go small quite a bit. All right, Al Jefferson with a quick move inside, and Mutombo secures the rebound. The second unit for Houston trying to battle back in this game now as Swift comes outside for Head, and that's going to be a 3-second defensive violation on the Celtics. John Barry will shoot the free throw.
Van Gundy's got a tough job tonight to try to find some players who have some energy. Last night, tough game in New Jersey. Got into Boston last night about 1:30 in the morning, and then an early game here, 6 o'clock start. Looks like some of the Rockets are still in bed taking a nap.
And John Barry missed. Barry didn't get a lot of minutes last night, and so he should be fresh. Luther Head's a rookie. He should be fresh.
JB missed that free throw, not happy with himself, and threw the ball into the stands. That's the crowd is saying, hey, well, this should be a technical.
He's just upset with himself.
That's what makes John Barry such a great player. He's his own biggest critic.
Great move by Luther Head, draws the foul from Dick Allen.
That's what I was talking about earlier. I don't think Dick Allen can stay with Luther Head.
No.
Even though Luther's a rookie, he's off to a great start. I'd like to put the ball in his hands and let him go to work.
3 team fouls on the Celtics now. Nice pass off, and Mutombo is stripped of the ball. Swift tries to save it. And the Celtics will have it.
There's the replay. Nice strip there on Mutombo, and then Strohmeyer kicks it out of bounds. Loose balls, you got to have them, Bill. This is a game where everything is going to matter.
Scalabrini shoots it over Barry, can't make it. Now the Rockets, with this second unit by Boston in there, unable to score. Rockets need to put some points up. and it'll be knocked out of bounds by Boston. Paul Pierce will check back into the Celtics lineup. Been a tough go for Boston, of course. All of those championships in the 60s and 70s and 80s with Red Auerbach, Bill Russell, of course, Bob Cousy, going down all the way to Larry Bird. They tried to rebuild. They thought they would have a chance to get Tim Duncan. They missed on the ping pong balls. Duncan went to San Antonio. They ended up with a couple of guards, and it's been downhill since. Rick Pitino was here then. Ryan Gomes misses.
We mentioned that Boston is one of the youngest teams in the league, and they're still in the rebuilding process. I think they're still a few pieces away from being among the elite in the East. But tonight's game, they're not showing that. They're definitely shooting the ball well.
Pickow putting his hand on Lutherhead, and Tracy McGrady will check back into the game. Well, we have 7:48 left to play in the second quarter. The Rockets have only 22 points. Wow.
See that replay there? Good defense by the Celtics. Lutherhead needed somebody to pass to, couldn't find anybody that was open.
Well, LaFrentz and Blunt.
There's a uncommon theme right there.
Yeah, Blunt's back in the game now.
I think Ricky Davis and Paul Pierce. Ricky Pierce was a pretty good player too, wasn't he, Bill?
Yes, he was. Yes, indeed. Rice Al, and Paul Pierce hits a three. 6 of 10 from behind the arc for the Celtics for a sizzling 60%.
Watch out.
Taking it inside for 2. Nice move, Stromile Swift.
That time Stromile had the ball in the middle of the court. Could go either right or left. I don't think whoever's guarding him can stay with him. Play the Rockets may want to come back to.
Blunt from the outside. If he'd have hit that one, I think Van Gundy would have just given up. 38-24 now. 6:50 left to play in the second quarter. And Barry is fouled by Blunt. And Blunt looks on in surprise.
Well, on the pick and roll defense, the center's job is not to go out there and try to steal the ball from the guard. It's just to go out there and make the guard change direction. Corey Blunt picks up a stupid foul there.
That was Jefferson going off and LaFrentz coming back in. Well, let's see if that little rest on the bench may have cooled LaFrentz off as John Barry will shoot. That's the 15th foul on the Celtics. The Rockets have only one team foul with 6:47 left. So the Rockets now, if they can be aggressive, Matt, should get to the free throw line. And Delonte West. And he comes in for Dan Dickau. Tony Allen, the other good guard that was drafted last year by Boston, is still rehabbing from knee surgery. There's a steal by Houston, and Wesley is fouled. He'll shoot 2.
Good defense that time by the Rockets. A nice double-team trap around the half-court area, and David Wesley hanging in the weeds. Let's watch here. Here's the double team. Stromile, good double team, and then David Wesley reads the pass.
Gets it back to the middle, gets it right back. Good return pass by John Barry.
John Barry, one of those guys, and he can see the whole floor. And his court vision is so good, and nice pass to David Wesley.
Doc Rivers, one of the better guards to play in this league. 13 seasons, very heady player when he played. Trying to help out his young point guard. So slowly but surely now, the Rockets climbing back. And I say that because they're down by only 10. They were down by as many as 16 a moment ago. And it's been the defensive hustle. And that's almost another turnover by Boston. Shot clock at 12 seconds now as Paul Pierce goes into the Paul Pierce offense. To Ricky Davis. Boy. So Ricky Davis now with 6. 40-28 Boston. Swift trying to set a pick. Trying to force a pass inside. On the floor, LaFrentz gives it up to Pierce. and off the leg of Mutombo, was going the other way, never saw it. Nice pass to Wesley, and foul is called as a charge on David Wesley.
Jeff Van Gundy saying he was in the restricted area.
Well, we've got a timeout on the court. Nothing going right for Houston right now. 5:45 left in the first half. Rockets trailing it by 12. Right now, Jeff Van Gundy would like to get a ticket for some offense.
Yeah, starters are not getting it done for the Rockets, only scoring 14 points. Starters for the Celtics with 35.
Yeah, Yao Ming back into the game now. There's the trap. You would think you'd be able to score inside on Boston. Boston has given up a lot of inside points. Look at that. LaFrentz saves it with great hustle. Blunt comes out of there with it. Just a step faster than Houston. Oh, no, not another three. Oh, Pierce with an air ball. And Stromile slipped. That's a 24-second violation on the Celtics.
Well, with that missed three, the Celtics are, over the last 3 games, are 16 for 30 from the three-point line. Over 50% in the last 3 games. We'll watch this save by LaFrentz. That's just extra effort. And that's what the Celtics are doing tonight, is they're getting to the loose balls. The Rockets are not able to get the loose balls. Celtics are. Watch out.
Alley-oop to T-Mac, knocked away by Blunt. Stromile swift with a left-handed slam. That was nasty.
Wish I could do that.
You can if you have a trampoline.
A rocket booster, maybe.
10-point lead by the Celtics. Couple of stops by Houston. They're right back in this thing. Back to Pierce. Wants to do his one-on-one thing, and he misses, and Barry's there for the rebound, and he gets it up the court in a hurry. John picks out Wesley, who was wide open. Get in there. Three-pointer for David Wesley. That's the first 3 of the game for Houston. And the Rockets have closed within 7. And it's this trapping defense that's doing it.
Well, the trap has gotten the Celtics out of their rhythm. There's another loose ball that the Celtics get, the Rockets don't. But that trap has really gotten the Celtics out of their offensive rhythm.
Fresh 24 now for Boston. Delonte West. In and out, won't go. Yao keeps it inside, and T-Mac with the rebound. Here he comes, trailing by 7, trying to hide behind Yao. Double team on T-Mac. Waits for it to go away. Wesley looking for Yao. There he's got it on LaFrentz. Should be easy money. Now the double team comes over. Shot clock at 5. T-Mac blocked inside, gets it back, and he's fouled going to the basket with 2 seconds on the shot clock. Good hard work by Tracy McGrady.
Tracy was very patient in that offensive situation. Waited for Yao, and here he goes baseline. Not able to get the ball up there, but stays with it. I liked his patience, trying to involve Yao in the offense, and then Yao being very unselfish, giving the ball back to T-Mac for the drive.
You know, Matt, it's not all slam dunks and three-pointers. A lot of times you just have to get down and dirty in a game like this, and that's what Tracy's doing now. I think he's finally figured out that he's going to have to get down there and get his hands dirty.
Yeah, this is not going to be a pretty game for the Rockets. If they're going to win this game, they're going to have to do the hard work, do the extra things, get the loose balls. Go ahead.
Rockets on a 14-2 run.
Oh, very nice. Now I think of this trapping defense, you see it again, has really helped the Rockets.
Almost a steal. Now Davis in the open court picks out LaFrentz. Is he still hot?
Yeah.
Wow. 17 points, new season high for Rafe LaFrentz. And a timeout taken by Houston. Jeff Van Gundy got to figure something out. He can't leave this guy wide open the whole game. Going to have 50. 3:27 left to play in the first half. It's the Rafe LaFrentz show. Now the Rockets starting to eat into that big lead by Boston. Rafe LaFrentz with a 3, but it's the trapping defense by Houston, Matt, that's getting the job done.
Yeah, well, we'll watch here. Paul Pierce is bringing the ball up. T-Mac and Stromile Swift are providing the trap. Now, Stromile is originally guarding Rafe LaFrentz. Now, you see Stromile's out of position now. He's got to rotate back. And he's just kind of jogging back there, and then on the pick and roll, Stromile's got a double team again, and no rotation to the three-point shooter in the corner. If you're going to double team, you've got to have somebody to rotate to the shooter, and I think that's what Jeff Van Gundy was so upset about when he called the 20-second timeout. You can't have Stromile double teaming the ball and then just let Rafe LaFrentz shoot open jump shots.
Well, you can let him shoot if he's 0 for 7. But when the guy's 6 for 7,
yeah,
including what, 5 threes?
5 for 5 from the three-point line.
You better get out there on him. You better find out where he is, identify where he is, and get to him. And there's a turnover by Houston right off the bat. Pierce up ahead, Delonte West, and LaFrentz again. All that was hustle to get down the court and follow on the fast break. And Rafe LaFrentz having one of those career-type games. He has 19 points. T-Mac for a 3. Nope, they're going to call it a 2.
Put on the line. T-Mac tries to answer Rafe LaFrentz. Rafe LaFrentz is in the zone.
Yeah.
You just look in his eyes, you can see he is in the zone now.
45-37.
Oh, I would have shot that one if I was him.
Well, he may. You got to give it back to him, though. Davis is not good at giving it back. And an offensive foul on Ricky Davis.
See, David Wesley is a very good post defender at his size. He's very strong. You can't back him in, and Ricky Davis is trying to back in. Well, here's the dunk from Rafe LaFrentz from floor level. You see how high he jumped in that time?
I think the problem with Ricky Davis, you got a hot hand like LaFrentz, what are you trying to force it for?
Well, see, that's what I said. If I was Rafe, I would have shot at them, because if you give the ball to Ricky Davis, you're not going to get it back from him.
One of the reasons why Cleveland traded him to Boston, because he could not coexist with LeBron James in Cleveland.
He's trying to coexist here with Paul Pierce, but can he coexist with Rafe LaFrentz?
Well, we'll see tonight. Rockets already with 12 turnovers, Matt, and a blocking foul is called on Tracy McGrady. That's his second foul of the game. 12 turnovers already by the Rockets. Now, the Rockets have been pretty good. They've turned it over only 14 times a game so far this season. Blunt to LaFrentz. Nope, that's traveling, isn't it? Well, apparently one of the Rockets must have touched the ball.
Yeah, Violet Palmer said the ball was touched. I don't think it was. Rafe got it stuck on the backboard, but when you're having a game like Rafe LaFrentz is having, even the bad stuff goes good for you.
That's 21 points for LaFrentz now. Yao Ming taking it inside, and traveling is called on Yao. Actually got a break there. The traveling was called before the charge.
Yeah, see, what Yao is doing is he's lowering his shoulder. We'll watch it here. He's lowering his shoulder into Corey, but he doesn't need to do that. Mark Blunt cannot jump up there and affect Yao's shot. Yao just needs to stay strong and shoot over him.
LaFrentz. Rafe LaFrentz with another three-pointer. He has 24 points. That ties his career high for three-pointers made in a game at 6. Yao tips it back out to Wesley. And he's fouled on the floor. 15 foul by the Celtics, and so David Wesley will shoot free throws. There's the story of the game right there, Rafe LaFrentz.
Here's the double team from Stromile Swift. Again, no rotation from any of the Rockets over to the shooter.
That's amazing. Why wouldn't you identify where he is on the floor? Man, I'd never leave that guy right now.
Well, you can't leave him now, and Ryan Bowen's going to come in and try to guard a fellow Iowan. Ryan Bowen, thank goodness he's checking into the game. Ryan was not on the active roster last night because of a bruised pelvis. He's able to play tonight, and thank goodness, because he was wearing my suit to the game.
Well, the reason they put him on the active roster, I understand, is because he had no clothes to wear if he sat on the bench.
They lost his bag somewhere between New York and Boston last night, and he came by my room today to borrow my suit that I wore last night, and thank goodness he's not wearing it on the bench.
How do you lose your bag when it's a chartered flight?
That is a very, very good question. I think Ryan is asking that one as well.
Wesley gets 1 out of 2, 1:22 left to play. Rockets outscored 50-38 here in the first half. And it's been all Rafe LaFrentz. They've done a pretty good job on Pierce. Pierce, 5 on the shot clock. Pierce lost the ball, and it's tipped, and keep it in play, and the shot clock will go off, and it's Houston's ball. Good hustle on defense by the Rockets. Still playing hard. They'll have Wesley, Barry, T-Mac, Swift, and Ryan Bowen in the game. West right up on McGrady, and they're trying to come over with a double team. Under a minute left to play. in the first half. T-Mac from way downtown Boston with a three-pointer. And Tracy now trying to make a little run for Houston. He has 11 points. 9-point Celtic lead. Get a stop here, Matt. Get another basket. And it wouldn't look as bad at halftime.
You want to get a little momentum going into the locker room as well, so a good stop here will lead to that.
7 on the shot clock. Pierce back into the corner to LaFrentz. My goodness, Rafe LaFrentz with a new career high of 7 3-pointers, and we're not even to the half yet. 27 points for LaFrentz. Knocked out of bounds by the Celtics. Rockets just refused to guard him. That's part of the game plan, but I hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, I tell you what, with a guy as hot as he is, you're going to have to make some adjustments and stay on him. Do not leave that well. He's going to check out of the game. And listen to this crowd.
Luther Head will check in for Ryan Bowen.
Well, Ryan played about a minute. Hopefully he'll take a shower before he wears my suit home after the game.
Outside, Luther Head will give it up to McGrady. Difference of about 2 seconds, shot clock, game clock. 7 on the shot clock before the half. Luther Head for a 3, and he hits it. Boy, it's a cold-blooded rookie right there.
I like that guy.
Over to Pierce, and Head knocks it out of bounds. Luther Head, and now the 22nd timeout is asked for by Doc Rivers. Luther Head just continues to step up like a 6 or 7 year veteran, but how about that Rafe LaFrentz? Has he been something or what?
Whew, 10 for 12, 7 for 7.
His career high is 32 points. He's got 27, and he's also the leading rebounder in the game.
He's getting it done. I'll tell you what, I've had games like that where I was on fire in the first half, and you go into the locker room for halftime, and you cool off, and you come back out, and you don't make any. So let's hope that happens.
If you were in the Rocket huddle and Jeff says, who's guarding Rafe LaFrentz, he would get a quizzical look because nobody from Houston has even gotten a hand in his face yet. Unbelievable.
Well, here's our boy Luther Head. Nice drive by T-Mac drawing the defense, and Luther with a quick jumper out of the corner.
Boy, I like him.
Yeah, he's something, man. If I'm Jeff Van Gundy, I've got to find as many minutes as I can in the rotation for Luther Head.
Yeah, he's ice cold. He's cold-blooded. He doesn't mind that pressure. There's no problem with him. He's got 5 points. All right, 5 seconds now, Matt. Without Rafe LaFrentz in the game, they'll go to Pierce, I guess, huh? No, he's not in.
Pierce is in. Pierce is in. Okay. He's pretty much the only offensive guy they've got. They've got a couple shooters in there, Dan Dickow.
And the Rockets had a foul to give, and Anderson wisely gave it before Pierce could shoot. So there'll be 3.6 now left, as both teams will be in the penalty for the final 3.6, and LaFrentz comes back into the game. Why not? Now, if I'm one of the Rockets, I'd go over and get right in his sneakers.
Yeah, John Barry's guarding him. If John Barry even helps off him, that's going to be a mistake.
Pierce with a running one-hander for 2. Why not? This is unbelievable by Boston. I've seen very few shooting exhibitions. Rafe LaFrentz, however, with 27. They did a pretty good job on Pierce. He has only 7 at halftime, but it's 27 by LaFrentz, and that's the difference. 55-44 at the half. Stay with us. Tonight's Toyota Power Team halftime report comes your way after the break. Boston leading by 11 here at halftime, and the Houston Rockets managed 30 points in the second quarter to get back into the game. But the story of tonight's game is Rafe LaFrentz already with a career high 7 3-pointers made, Matt.
7 for 7, and they are all wide open. There's number 1. Every time you see Rafe shoot, there is not a Rocket in sight. Now, Rafe LaFrentz is not a guy who no one knows can shoot threes. He can shoot threes. He's done that his whole career. But he is on fire now. 27 points in the first half. 10 for 12 from the floor and 5 rebounds to go along with all of these threes.
Of course, the 7 3-pointers give them 7 assists, but they have 15 as a team. The Rockets have only 4 assists, so they haven't been able to move the ball around enough.
No, it's been a struggle for the Rockets all night. They're down by 11. If they can shut Rafe LaFrentz down in the second half, perhaps they can climb back into it, but it is going to be a dogfight.
And somebody besides McGrady has to step up and score, right?
Yeah, Yao has struggled to score inside. Mark Blunt has been playing defense on him. I think Yao has an advantage there. I think the Rockets should explore that here in the second half.
Could be worse. You could be down by more than 11, so a lot of basketball left to play. Let's see if the Rockets can climb back in it. We'll be back with the second half in a moment. Here are tonight's Bud Light first half stats. As you see, both teams shooting the same, except for Rafe LaFrentz. 3-point shooting, 9 by Boston, 7 by LaFrentz. The individual record for the most 3-pointers made in a game, Antoine Walker has 9. He's done that a couple of times, so LaFrentz a couple away from tying him. Leading scorers for the Houston Rockets, McGrady with 11, Swift with 7, and that's about it. Yao Ming needs to get going. Rafe LaFrentz with 27 points. Actually, the Rockets done a pretty good job on Paul Pierce, Matt.
Yeah, we thought Paul Pierce, Ricky Davis would be the leading scorers, and Rockets have done a good job of keeping those guys from scoring, but they forgot about Rafe LaFrentz.
Well, maybe the theory is that he can't keep making them the entire game.
Well, he hasn't missed yet.
Well, that's right. So maybe the halftime cooled him off. Alston giving it up to Yao Ming. Shot clock already down to 6 seconds now, and the Rockets haven't even looked at the basket. Down to 4, down to 3. McGrady. Oh, my goodness. Tracy McGrady shot that from Hartford.
At least it wasn't Hackensack.
Well, that was last night.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Pierce coming off a pick now, and there's almost a turnover, and goaltending is called on Yao Ming.
Another loose ball.
And LaFrentz goes and gets it.
The Celtics got it. LaFrentz takes advantage of it. There's T-Mac. That's a good 5 feet behind the line.
And the shot clock was down to 2 seconds. That's about his only recourse, was to just go ahead and shoot it, which is fine with me. Alston down to Juwan Howard. Howard with a double team. Back to Anderson. Gets it right back. He'll work on Blunt now. Juwan Howard turns inside. There's going to be a whistle and a foul called on Blunt.
Let's go. On the side. Come on.
Juwan's got a real nice post-up game. Always has. Real patient. You can't really knock him off of his move. And he's got moves to the right and to the left. That time a good job of drawing the foul.
Third foul on Mark Blunt. And McGrady will have it. Down to Yao Ming. Yao turning inside off the glass. Beautiful move by Yao Ming.
Rockets need to go back to that. Yao's got a big advantage inside, and the Rockets have not been able to exploit that yet.
Yao with 8 points. So the Rockets now within 8. Down low to Blunt. Foul on Yao Ming. Second foul on Yao. He let Blunt pin him right under the basket then. There was really nothing that Yao could do about it but foul. And both teams with a team foul to start out the half. Pierce into the middle, back to Davis. Ricky Davis for 2. It's obvious what the Rockets are doing. They're concentrating on not giving Pierce anything, but in so doing, they're giving the rest of the Celtics some good looks. And that's going to be a turnover by Alston.
Rayford drove baseline. Kicked the ball out to look like the official. Jeff Van Gundy not happy with that pass at all.
Well, the Rockets' turnovers are at 14 already, and that's what they average for a game this season. Davis turns inside of Yao.
Van Gundy not happy at all. He's got Ricky Davis driving all the way into the basket. No help defense. Team's turning the ball over on the other end. Not happy at all.
Less than 2 minutes played in the third quarter, and the Rockets call a timeout. Well, Jeff Van Gundy's not loving it because right now the Rockets are turning it over. They're not getting real good looks except for Tracy McGrady. And they're letting Boston do just about anything they want to do. And there's a miss by McGrady, but the Rockets get it back down to Yao Ming. Turns inside point-blank range, and Yao has 10 points. Good pass by McGrady.
Very nice pass, and Yao taking advantage of it. No other player on the team getting any shots. I'd go to Yao.
Well, Blunt drives right around him.
That's a tough matchup for Yao to move his feet against a guy like Blunt, but still, he needs to have some help defense.
Rafer Alston taking it to the basket, knocked out of bounds by the Celtics. 16 seconds left on the shot clock.
Watch this drive by, wow, he just takes it and just goes right, puts his head down and takes it all the way to the hole.
Yao Ming jumps it up over Blunt for two.
Yao can do that all night and needs to.
12 points for Yao. Blunt has 10, so he's pretty much canceled him out. Blunt inside to outside.
That time the Rockets were able to rotate to Blunt off the double team. Blunt makes a nice pass out to Ricky Davis for an open jumper.
Davis with 13 points as they go back to McGrady. And blocked inside, and the Celtics have the basketball. Was that LaFrentz?
It was. He's doing it on both ends.
Down to Blunt, who again was able to walk right in under the basket on Yao Ming and catch the ball. And Yao commits his third foul of the game.
There's T-Mac going in. Block shot by Rafe. And then on the other end, Mark Blunt just runs right to the hoop and just seals Yao.
I didn't think the Rockets had good spacing. They brought all of their men into the paint area when Tracy went to the basket. There's Pierce back outside. This time they're covering LaFrentz up. Good defense by Houston. Pierce with an ill-advised three.
You see Doc Rivers telling his players, shoot the ball when you're open.
Of course, Pierce to put one up as the shot clock was running down. 66-53, 13-point lead. Biggest lead by Boston was 16 points. There's a double team on Alston. Looking for Yao. He's got his man sealed off. Yao catches it back to Alston. Back outside. Derek Anderson with a nice head fake. And he misses the jumper. Delonte West brings it back the other way. Paul Pierce this time wide open. And he misses. And Yao with his fourth rebound of the game. McGrady.
McGrady and Paul Pierce having a little battle going at each other. They both shot air balls now, and they're both laughing.
Well, he thought, he told Paul Pierce, he said, I thought you were going to come after me then. And Paul didn't do anything.
Little game inside the game between those two guys.
Davis back to Pierce. Now the shot clock down to 5, down to 4. Inside to LaFrentz, and he missed the shot. And a loose ball foul is called on Boston. Called on Delonte West.
Little lob to Rafe, and Rafe, he was too close.
Isn't that something? That's the easiest shot that he's had tonight, and he missed it. He's now 11 for 14 with 9 threes, and David Wesley will come in to give T-Mac a breather.
7 threes.
Excuse me, 7. I'm thinking of 9 because that's the team record.
And Antoine Walker, of course, the guy who likes to jack up threes regularly often. Yeah.
Well, the Rockets can't buy a basket. Ricky Davis with a 2. Quick shot.
Very quick shot.
Well, that'll drive a coach crazy. Working the ball very well, and then you come down and shoot one of those early jumpers down to Yao. LaFrentz knocks it away. Derek Anderson is fouled, and he will shoot 2.
When I read the paper this morning, I heard Mark Blunt saying, I need more shots. And they've got Ricky Davis, who likes to shoot the ball, and they've got Paul Pierce, who likes to shoot the ball. I'm thinking, the Celtics team is a team that still has troubles, still has problems with guys like Mark Blunt asking for shots in the paper. But I think Doc Rivers is doing a good job of trying to mold this young team into a real team. And that's going to be a difficult job for him with some of the guys he has on his roster.
Derek gets 1 out of 2. Rockets are now 11 of 17 from the free throw line. They can't even hit from there, 64%. LaFrentz. Well, he was finally guarded. And he missed one. But the offensive rebound going to the Celtics, fresh 24. Blunt down in low, ill-advised pass. Turnover. Derek Anderson in the open court. Gets it right back. Anderson to the middle. Off the glass, and he missed it. Gets it back. He'll shoot it. Finally, he gets it to go.
Well, as a shooter, you always love to have that second chance. Derek Anderson able to corral that loose ball for an open jumper.
That was good hustle. And the Rockets, playing as badly as they are, still only 10 points back. Just a few possessions, and you're right back in this game. LaFrentz. Down low to Blunt. Blunt over Howard. In and out and in again.
Everything just seems to be going the Celtics' way tonight. The Rockets struggling for everything they can get, but that's the way it is on a second game of a back-to-back out on the East Coast. The Rockets know they're going to pick up the intensity to win this game.
Shot clock at 6 seconds. Howard to the middle, and a charge on Juwan Howard.
Rafe LaFrentz, the guy who draws the charge. He's not a one-trick pony, Bill. He gets a block shot, can draw a charge, and can hit threes.
Well, it is a pony right now that Doc Rivers is riding. And he's riding it to a 12-point lead. Boston with the basketball. Davis turns the corner. Davis to the basket. And he missed it. Sensational shot. He switched to his left hand. Yao Ming with the outlet pass to Alston. Alston to Derek Anderson. Baseline jumper. Can't hit a thing. Well, they can hit the iron. Paul Pierce. Three-pointer. That's the 10th three-pointer for the Celtics. They'll make it 11. 11 to 19 for the Celtics from behind the arc. Now looking for somebody to pick. Puts one on Pierce. Alston from the corner. Misses badly. Alston now 0 for 5. Davis, great move. Got 3 for 2.
Ricky Davis starting to heat up now. The Rockets not getting anything out of their offense with T-Mac out of the game, and Jeff Van Gundy needs to talk about that.
Well, Anderson with 3 points, Alston with none, so they're not getting much production. Boston with its biggest lead, 73-56. Time to check in on tonight's AIG Big Man Watch.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Playing him to a dead heat.
Yep. Mark Blunt in the paper today said, I need more shots. Well, he's taken 11. He's made 6 of them, matching Yao Ming's 12 points. The Rockets really are struggling right now to get any offense with Tracy McGrady on the bench. Of course, T-Mac is checking in right now, but Yao has got to be the guy. The Rockets are going to have to get the ball inside to Yao.
Well,
when T-Mac's not on the court.
But, you know, Alston is out of the game now, too, and I think that's really going to be a key as we get into this season. If Rafer Alston continues this poor shooting, he's 31% coming into this game. He's 0 for 5 tonight. What are you going to do when they just keep backing off your point guard?
Well, Jeff Van Gundy's trying to figure that out. He's got David Wesley playing point guard now, and David Wesley hasn't played point guard in the NBA since he played here in Boston about 10 years ago.
Yeah. Bobby Suro was supposed to be the answer this year, of course, and Bobby was injured, and Stromile Swift did not beat the shot clock. So a 24-second violation on Houston. That's 16 turnovers by the Rockets to only 7 by the Celtics.
And in this season, the Boston Celtics are second in the NBA in points off of turnovers. They are really able to turn turnovers into points. The Rockets with 16, 2 more than their season average.
Conversely, Matt, the Celtics look very vulnerable to points in the paint this season, but the Rockets haven't been able to do anything about that.
Yeah, the Celtics are giving up the 4th most points in the paint, and you would think with Yao Ming that they could exploit that, and that's basically what I've been trying to say all game, is get the ball inside to Yao. The Rockets haven't been able to do that.
Well, I hear you, and the fans hear you. There's Yao out high, setting picks now. Now he's trying to post up. He's got Blunt. Nice pass to Strohmeyer. Swift with the slam. You know, Yao's a great passer, too, and a lot of times if you just get it in there, something will happen if you flash to the basket.
The teams are fronting Yao in the post, and it's frustrating Yao and his teammates.
Paul Pierce down the baseline for the slam, and Pierce with 12 points, 29 for LaFrentz, Blunt with 12, 15 for Davis. Davis having a 9-point quarter. And LaFrentz knocks it out of bounds. Good save by Ryan Gomes.
Let's watch Paul Pierce going baseline. Just quick move on Tracy McGrady, and Yao not quick enough to get there. If you play in the NBA long enough, Bill, you will get dunked on.
Yeah. It's a fact of life, especially by that guy. You know, he's been patient, too. He's taken 11 shots, but they've done a good job on him, and he's let everybody else get into the offense. Down to 7 seconds on the shot clock, down to 5, down to 4. Barry throws it up and draws the foul. Smart move by John. Shot clock running down, and he drew the foul.
We've been talking about getting the ball inside to Yao. I think the Rockets are best at getting the ball into Yao when Tracy McGrady is in the game. And that's something that if you got T-Mac in the game, you don't necessarily want him to be your post passer. I think the fronting defense on Yao is really frustrating not only Yao but the passers, and they're not being patient enough to let Yao get his position.
All right, Barry will have one more. Swift and Yao and McGrady along with Wesley and Barry. That's the combination for Jeff Van Gundy. Pierce is in there along with Delonte West. Ryan Gomes, the youngster from Providence, not too far from here. Pierce on the drive, and they're not going to call the basket good. They're calling a foul on Yao Ming.
Calling a block on Yao. Yao looked like he had pretty good position, but Paul Pierce is just slippery enough to, Yao didn't have his feet set.
And Pierce is begging for the field goal. He wanted continuation. Doc Rivers wants a timeout, and he'll take it with 2:38 left to play in the third. So far, it's all Boston. The Celtics 75 and the Rockets 60. 15-point lead by the Celtics here in the third quarter.
And that game against the game on the 23rd you get the free ticket to is against the Phoenix Suns.
Ooh, boy.
That's a good game there. Phoenix is one of the teams in the NBA who is very exciting to watch, can score a lot of points, and really missing Amari Stoudemire right now with that knee injury, but still running up and down the court, putting up a lot of points.
Well, they are putting up a lot of points. And they missed him, but they played a pretty tough schedule here in the early going. Oh, goodness. Blunt threw it inside. Gomes has it, puts it up over Yao Ming. Ryan Gomes. He graduated at Providence as the leading scorer all time in a very good collegiate basketball program. How he lasted as long as he did into the second round. But as we said, a lot of general managers thought he should be in the first round. There's Strohmeyer swift to the basket and misses, and it's knocked out of bounds by Boston.
Strohmeyer took the ball to the hole strong. Looked like he was pushed from behind. No call. Strohmeyer looking at the official saying, hey, you didn't see that? Here's the loose ball that Gomes gets. See, there's no Rockets even jumping for that ball, and Gomes just takes it and put it back in.
Shot clock at 5 seconds. Wesley had a little trouble getting the shot off, and the reason was that Delonte West was all over his arm. That's the fourth foul on Delonte West.
I don't have the specifics on this stat. I don't know the numbers, and I don't know who's number one, but number 2 all-time scoring in the NBA among players who are not drafted, David Wesley.
You know who number 1 is? Moses Malone.
Moses Malone.
27,000 points, Matt, and I don't...
David had to play another 20 years. Pretty impressive career for David Wesley.
You know, Carroll Dawson brought David to camp, being a Baylor Bear. He brought him to camp for a tryout, after his senior season at Baylor, unrestricted free agent. He did not make the team, but he went to Wichita Falls. He said the experience really helped him because he realized he could play at the next level. He went to Wichita Falls in the CBA and learned his skills and came back, and he's had a fantastic 13-year career in the NBA. And the foul is called on Stromile Swift.
Watch Mark Blount driving in and Stromile just reaching in there. That's one of those plays where you see a guy kind of going in out of control. You want to force him to make that shot. Players that are driving to the basket that are way off balance really struggle to make those layups.
The last free throw attempt by Boston was back with about 5 minutes gone in the first period. So you don't have to get to the line if you're hitting 11 threes.
Well, that could tell you that Boston is relying on jump shots and making them, or that can tell you that the Rockets are just not being aggressive on defense and not fouling.
8 seconds on the shot clock as Swift has the ball stolen by Pierce, tries to get it back and draws the foul.
Once again, another loose ball, and you see all the Celtics helping up Paul Pierce. When your best player dives on the floor to get a ball, that's contagious. You see Stromile Swift struggling with that move, and Paul Pierce out of nowhere dives in there and gets the loose ball.
And that's not an easy court to dive on either. Oh. That's the old parquet. That's the new parquet in the new garden. The old parquet, when they unscrewed all the pieces of lumber and tried to get them over here, they fell apart.
They made a new floor that resembles the old garden floor, and this one is only slightly better.
It is pretty, but it's awfully hard to play on. Tough on the knees. Didn't bother any of the old-timers.
Didn't bother you out there today when you were rebounding for me.
I didn't have to rebound much. He made just about everything he shot. You impressed the ball boys. There's a turnover there by Houston, and Pierce takes it in, and he misses. He'll shoot two. Well, it's an 18-point lead now by the Boston Celtics. Pierce will try to make it 20. The Rockets really have never been in this game. They got as close as 10 and as close as 8 a couple of times.
The Rockets have been a very good transition defensive team so far this season.
Yes, they have.
First in the league, only giving up 6 fast break points a game. That is fast break point number 8 right there for the Celtics.
It's surprising to me, Matt, because the Rockets have played well here recently. San Antonio and Houston have the best records in the Boston Garden since the 93-94 season. San Antonio 11-1, the Rockets 8-3 coming in here. So the Rockets have played well in this building over the last 10 or 12 years. But not tonight. 10 on the shot clock. And Swift is fouled by Jefferson. So Davis will come back into the game for Boston. Jefferson's another one of those kids that came right out of high school, and they think he's going to have a great future. Al out of Prentice High School in his second season. They've really got a lot of youth on this team, as you pointed out earlier.
Well, they're still trying to rebuild here in Boston. I think they're still a few pieces away from being an East Coast powerhouse, but Doc Rivers doing an excellent job of taking what he has, molding them into a team that plays to their strengths.
Tracy McGrady coming out of the game now with 14 points, 4 rebounds. He's replaced by Luther Head. Swift gets one. The Rockets have missed 7 free throws now, shooting only 70% from the free throw line. Brian Scalabrine in the game to Davis, and Dick Howe is in.
Wow, what a block shot.
Stromile Swift. Celtics will have it, 9 seconds on the shot clock. Rockets will have tomorrow off and travel to take on Minnesota on Tuesday night. Scalabrine with a miss, and the rebound to Swift. Then after Minnesota, the Rockets will go down to San Antonio for a game on Thursday and play Detroit in the Toyota Center on Friday night. There's a nice block by Scalabrine. Jefferson wants the basketball. Working on Juwan Howard. And the tip in. Another loose ball picked up by Boston. So there you got a 22-year-old putting it in and a 20-year-old missing on the first shot. A lot of youth out there on that court. 8 seconds left in the quarter. Luther Head, a little youth of his own as he takes it up and draws a foul. Good hustle by Luther Head. There's no backing up in him.
See the block shot there by Scalabrine. He just almost grabs it with both hands, and then Celtics are off to the races. Luther Head, that's a guy, I'm so impressed with him, how he's been able to come in and really carve out some minutes on this team and playing some good basketball, shooting the ball well. Of course, then I jinx him on that free throw.
I don't think it makes any difference tonight. A lot of things aren't going in. Luther Head, though, had a terrific collegiate career and at Illinois, and he left the school as a record holder for career NCAA tournament games. He played in 14 tournament games for Illinois. Dick Howe beats the buzzer, and it would not have surprised me had that gone in. That's what kind of night it's been for the Celtics, but a good third quarter for Boston. And it's the Celtics 84, the Rockets 63. Welcome back to the new Garden, the TD Bank North Garden here in Boston, as the Rockets watched the Celtics run off an 11-3 run to finish the third quarter, and Boston pretty much has it going its own way here. When they played over at the old Garden, it was much the same.
Oh, the old Garden.
I'm sure you've got some good stories to tell about that place.
What a lovely place to play.
Hell, if you were a Celtic, it was. They believed in that tradition. There's Luther Head with a miss, and Scalabrine has to grab Stromile Swift.
The old Garden was so cold in the wintertime. You could play an entire game and not sweat.
Well, there was no heat.
No heat.
And there was no air conditioning.
Right. So if you played in the finals over here, you were sweating. And then, of course, whenever I played, we never played the Celtics in the finals, but so it was always very, very cold. And then you'd go in to shower after the game, and there was 2 showers that worked.
Mm-hmm.
So you figure you got, Keem and Otis Thorpe and Larry Smith. And
a lot of people thought that's what Red Auerbach wanted. He wanted it to be just as Spartan as possible on the visiting team. And Rafer Alston continues his drought. There's a steal by Houston. And going to the basket, Stromile Swift. Oh, baby.
Just give him the ball, let him go. That guy is so athletic.
12 points for Stromile. Ricky Davis trying to penetrate, picks up a double team. Dick Howe now stepped out of bounds.
Dick Howe steps out of bounds. Let's watch this replay from Stromile Swift. Just goes baseline and elevates.
Well, when he saw Dan Dick Howe, the only guy on him, he said, "What's going on here?"
When I was growing up, I had a hoop in my backyard, and it lasted my whole life growing up. How many hoops do you think he tore off the garage when he was playing, jumping like that?
Yeah. John Berry on the miss, provided that he had a garage. A lot of those kids growing up didn't have that luxury. Gomes for a 3. Rafer Alston. Probably a good time for Jeff to play Rafer. See if he can get his shot, find his way here in the fourth quarter. You got to make some progress. And again, Stromile Swift just misses the layup, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2. He's still playing hard.
There's a nice pass from Rafer Alston. Nice little bounce pass, hits Stromile right on stride. Stromile just can't get it to drop in. But you make a great point, Bill, of putting Rafer out there and seeing if he can find his way here with the Rockets team. Rafer's brought in here to run the offense, to really get this team into a fast-breaking team, and really hasn't had a good start to the season So this is a good time for him being down by 20 to get out there and really feel his way with this Rockets offense.
Well, you know, he was brought here to do, as you said, to get the offense going, but he has only 1 assist tonight. Now, part of that is he's passed the ball to a lot of Rockets who have missed a lot of shots, but he's 0 for 6 from the field and only 1 assist. If he were 0 for 6 with 10 assists,
that'd be a different story.
You could live with it.
Yep.
So I think that's a problem that the Rockets could have as we go deeper into the season, and something they'll have to address.
Well, the other half of that is...
Oh, great play again by Swift.
The other half of that is if you pass to somebody, they've got to be able to make a shot. It's an easy call.
Yeah, you look at... You look at it right now, after 3 quarters of play, and the Rockets have only 8 assists, man. 8 assists in this game. You don't beat anybody with 8 assists in 3 quarters.
No, the Rockets are 22 for 53 from the floor. Celtics, 33 for 72, so almost 20 more attempts and 10 more makes.
Yeah. Good move by Luther Head, but he rimmed it out. Scalabrine with a rebound, lost it coming down. David Wesley sets, fires, and he misses.
David shot the ball well in the 4th quarter last night, but...
Well, he's 1 for 5 tonight.
Yeah, I don't think his jumper's all the way back quite yet.
His 1 for 5. Alston's 0 for 6. Anderson's 1 for 5. And Gomes, with those good lively legs, takes it to the basket. I really like the looks of this kid.
Well, we talked about the Celtics. They're our young team. And Doc Rivers has done an excellent job as we watch Gomes drive in there. Doc Rivers done an excellent job of getting this team to play to its strengths. If he can keep this team around 500 this year, above 500, and not let them lose too many games, they've got something to build on. The problem with young teams is when you start losing a lot of games, those youngsters start jacking up shots and don't play a team-style basketball.
Yeah, well, of course, they've got enough veteran leadership in LaFrentz and Pierce, and they're in the Atlantic Division, and they won it last year as Tracy McGrady looking on, but Philadelphia is 3-3. Boston will go to 3-3 with a victory tonight. They're in there with New Jersey. New York off to an 0-5 start. I think Larry Brown's finding out what it's like to coach without a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And Toronto, so it's a division you can win. Rockets, on the other hand, maybe in the toughest division in basketball, that Southwest division with San Antonio, Dallas, Memphis. There's another turnover. LaFrentz, good hustle by Rafer Alston. He got back and knocked it away. Berry, Wesley, Luther Head looks for a layup, and he gets it. The layup game called on Houston.
Luther Head, though, he plays hard, whether his team's up by 20, down by 20, tied. He's just out there playing basketball. Love to watch that guy play. Well, we mentioned all the guys that are shooting poorly for the Rockets. Who's making shots for the Rockets? Well, Yao Ming, 6 for 8. Tracy McGrady, 5 for 10. Stromile Swift, 5 for 7. And if I'm Yao and I'm 6 for 8, I've got to be 16 for 18 or 26 for 28 before I stop getting the ball.
The reason LaFrentz is shooting free throws, that's the second delay of game on Houston. And when you get the second one called, it's a technical foul for the other team. We have a timeout, and it's the Celtics 87 and the Rockets 68. Looks like a bad day for the Texas folks. All the way around.
Yeah, bad day for the Rockets tonight. 8 for 24 in the second half shooting.
Ricky Davis to the basket. You can just tell that Boston much livelier legs. Now, is that because it's a younger team or because the Rockets played last night?
Yes.
Okay, yes to both.
If you're a veteran team and you're on the second night of a back-to-back, you've got to use your experience. You've got to use your bench a little bit. The Rockets unable to find a combination that's really given them the energy that they need.
Wesley on the drive, couldn't finish it off. This is as good as I've seen the Celtics play defense, too, in a long time.
Yeah, and that's been a key to Doc Rivers' teaching here, is teaching defense.
LaFrentz, and he missed. He's going for his 8th three-pointer of the game. Luther Head back the other way, blocked by LaFrentz. He saves the ball to Dan Dickow. Pierce will fire one up. And Yao Ming gets it out to John Barry. 7:48 left to play. Pierce with the rebound. Rockets with only 68 points. 7:28 left.
Only 20 points in the paint for the Rockets, 30 in the paint for the Celtics.
Steal by Rafer Alston. John Barry will stop from the three-point line, in and out.
See a lot of frustration on the faces of the Rockets.
Yeah, I think they felt like last night in New Jersey with Tracy back, they were getting ready to make a little run. And tonight they just could not get anything to fall, and it was a lot to do with Boston's hot shooting to start the game. Rockets never could get into a rhythm, could they, man?
Now, they were playing catch-up right from the start, and Rafe LaFrentz had an awesome first half, 7 for 7 from the three-point line. Rafe now 7 for 8. So that tells you, as Ricky Davis drives in right down the lane, nobody steps over to stop him. But Rafe LaFrentz only getting 1 3-point shot. So the Rockets made the adjustment to shut down Rafe LaFrentz in the second half, but well, it's a little too late.
It's a long season, and we want to remind our friends that don't let a bad start get you down, because remember last year the Rockets got off to that dreadful start last season where they went 6-10 in November. And but then they were able to improve to 9-5, 10-6, 7-3, 12-4, and 7-3. So as the season went on, the Rockets improved and got on a roll. And I see this team doing that once they get all the pieces in place. And Rafer Alston could be one of those pieces. He finally hits a three.
That's a good point. You know, but the Rockets did get off to a bad start last year. Still ended up very, very strong. I think the difference about this year is the expectations for this team were so much higher.
Right.
And throughout the entire preseason, Jeff Van Gundy was saying, oh, you know, we're not as good as everyone thinks, and we've got a long ways to go, and everyone's thinking, yeah, Jeff, whatever, you know, you're just saying that. He really knew what he was talking about.
He knew what he was talking about. Timeout on the court, 6:29 left to play, and the Celtics are up 91-71. So even though our official gave us a full timeout signal, we're staying right here with a 20-second timeout.
Oh, the lovely 20-second timeout. If you're sitting on the bench, let's say like Tracy McGrady, he's been sitting over there on the bench for pretty much most of the second half. His back's hurting. Now he's got to stand up and go out there and listen to the coach yell at the team. Got all the guys standing around the coach for the 20-second timeout.
Well, these were the games that you got a lot of minutes.
Yeah, these are games, there are guys on the end of the bench. This is your chance to really pump up your stats. You know, as a bench player, at least in my case, I would love the 20-point game. I didn't care if it was 20 points ahead or 20 points down. I was getting in the game. I was going to get some shots.
You were going to get some shots off. I like your attitude.
You know, if I'm in a tight game, I had to throw the ball to Akeem. You know, if it was tied, throw it to Akeem. But if we're up by 20, I'm shooting it.
Remember Calvin Murphy telling me one time he got in his rookie year. For the final 30 seconds, he got up 4 shots.
Only Calvin could do something like that.
That's right. Rafer with a miss and Davis with a rebound. Inside to LaFrentz, and he missed the shot. Tipped outside. Celtics get a fresh 24.
Well, Rafer had 27 at halftime. He's got 30 right now. Only 3 points in the second half. Remember, I talked about a lot of times a player will be hot in the first half and cool off in the second.
Oh, tough shot by Mark Blunt.
Well, Mark Blunt said he needed more shots in the paper today. Now I wonder what he's going to say tomorrow.
Well,
See what I told you?
He's got 15, and LaFrentz, if you'd have told me before the game, LaFrentz and Blunt would have combined for 45 points. And a good half for Swift. That's 15 points now for Stroman.
And the thing about Strohmeyer I like is he's out there playing ball. He's not thinking too much. You know, he's not a player that you can give a lot of instructions to. You got to let him go out there and play, and that's what he's done in the second half.
Well, that's a new season high for Strohmeyer Swift, 15 points. There's a strip ball by Luther Head. Luther gets by Pierce. Nice pass to Berry. Reversal. He missed it. Tipped up and in by Strohmeyer Swift, and he's got 17. Was it Strohmeyer?
Yep, Strohmeyer tipped that in. John Berry misses the layup and again gets frustrated with himself.
Interior defense of Houston collapsing, giving up a slam dunk to Boston.
Well, this is garbage time, but that isn't for Jeff Van Gundy. Not happy with that at all.
95-75. The Celtics with a 20-point lead. Boston jumped out to an early lead, and the Celtics have kept the pedal to the metal right now with a 20-point lead.
Well, here's a Rockets insider, Strohmeyer Swift, one of the few guys who's had a great game, and this guy is athletic. If you want to come see some exciting basketball, come to the Rockets game and watch Strohmeyer Swift go to work.
Well, he's been the one bright spot here tonight. Down into Yao Ming. Yao with a nice pass to Luther Head, set him up nicely, but he missed the three. Yao with a rebound. Yao puts the shot back up and draws the foul. Good hustle, Yao Ming. So with that rebound by Yao, he's got another double-double this season. He's 12 and 10.
There's the jump shot from Luther. Nice little job by Yao not getting an over-the-back foul and then drawing the foul on the shot. Once again, Yao Ming having a very efficient game, 6 for 8 from the floor.
I got to wonder what Mark Blunt went up for that rebound. He's a 7-footer.
Yeah.
And Yao just tipped the ball to himself. I bet that's never happened to him before.
Yeah, you definitely would feel like you're a grade school player.
Be like me playing against you.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to jump. What's that say, Matt?
It says Yao Ming.
No, what in the middle? What does it say?
Oh, I don't know. Where's Colin Pine when you need him?
That's right. Well, he's in China.
Yao's interpreter.
Our commissioner, our future commissioner, Colin Pine. Over to Rafer Alston now. He's working for the NBA in China. Good job for Colin, and we miss him.
Whoops.
Well, that was maybe Yao's first alley-oop.
That was not enough alley and too much oops.
That's right. Too many oops. Uh-oh, Davis. Well, they missed their last three. Davis with the offensive rebound sets up Pierce for a three, and he hits it.
Well, when things are going your way, Bill.
Boy. 12 three-pointers for Boston tonight.
Nice pass.
Oh, yes. And Rafer gets it to go.
That ball looked like it didn't want to go in, didn't it?
Yep.
Well, Rafer Friends getting back into the action.
Well, that's his new career high.
I think that ties his career high. He'll go to the free throw line trying to get his new career high.
Yeah, I should have said he'll be shooting the free throw for his new career high, and why not? So Pierce will go out with a double-double. He stayed around long enough to get 19 points and 10 assists.
Paul Pierce, we talked about it in the pregame, having an excellent year, averaging 28 points a game, 8 rebounds and 4 assists, shooting 50% from the floor. A double-digit assist tonight, 10 assists for 19 points is really getting it done. Hey,
is that going to be your Landry's signature group player of the game?
Well, hey, as Rafe LaFrentz ties his shoes, we'll talk about Landry's signature group player of the game. That is Rafe LaFrentz. Does he get like a gift card to Landry's? Really?
I have no idea.
If he does, I'm going to go get it from him because I love eating at Landry's.
Yeah, 32 points and 8 rebounds for Rafe.
Oh,
he had a chance for a new career high, and he blew the free throw.
You know, he knew it, too.
Yes, he did.
That was probably the most pressure on any shot tonight for him.
Well, Doc Rivers shows us that he's right in the game because he got Kendrick Perkins in for our viewing audience in the Golden Triangle area. Kendrick was born in Nederland, played at Beaumont in high school at Ozen, led him to a state championship. He's in the game now. Luther Head inside. Swift goes for the slam dunk and misses. Gerald Green, who was drafted by Boston this year, he's a young high school kid out of Houston. He is on the inactive list out of Gulf Shores Academy.
This is one of those games where Gerald Green wishes he had a uniform on.
That's right.
Get some time.
He thinks he could play tonight. They want LaFrentz to get that new career high. There's a turnaround air ball. Moochie Norris in the game for Houston. Moochie with Alston. Wesley. 2:40 left to play. Moochie says, let me get a shot off. And Perkins with the rebound. Boy, Kendrick was all everything at Beaumont-Ozen High School. They won the district championship 4 years in a row, won the state 4A title his sophomore season. And we've got a final timeout, we hope, with Boston way out in front. 2.5 minutes left to play in the game. The Celtics bidding to get their record to 3-3 on the season. The Rockets will fall to 2-4. And we remind you again, the Rockets will be playing the Minnesota Timberwolves Tuesday night. That game will be on FSN Houston starting at 6:30. So we want you fans to join us in Minnesota. It's going to be a different looking T-Wolves team except for Kevin Garnett and Wally Zerbiak. Whistle underneath. And David Wesley will go to the basket.
And most likely a different looking Rockets team as well. A team that will have a little rest between now and then. And of course, the Rockets' big win last night in New Jersey over the Nets. Tip-off a short 22 hours later here in Boston. And Boston took advantage of the Rockets being tired and jumped all over them right from the beginning and never let them up.
Well, back-to-back games are a fact of life in the NBA, Matt, and it's something the Rockets will have to address as the season goes on.
Well, I'll tell you, I give the Celtics a lot of credit. They knew that the Rockets were coming in tired. They got off to a very quick start. They jumped all over the Rockets. They never let the Rockets get back into the game. Good job of coaching by Doc Rivers of knowing the schedule, and the Rockets can do that too. When they have a team that comes in on a short back-to-back, the Rockets need to do the same thing.
Yeah, but they don't get that anytime soon. They'll come home to play Friday night against Detroit, of all people, the champions of the East, after playing San Antonio the night before, and then go right back out again.
Yep.
So this November is not going to be easy for the Rockets. It would have been a lot nicer had they been able to get some things set before they headed out on the road, but there's going to be a turnover by Delonte West.
Well, you mentioned the back-to-back on the road at San Antonio and then home against the Detroit Pistons and back out on the road against Indiana.
Yeah. Ooh.
And then coming back and then playing in Dallas. So it does not get any easier for the Rockets.
Ron Artest versus Tracy McGrady, do you think?
Yeah.
Moochie taking it in, gets it right back. Now Moochie looks fresh. Moochie's pretty well.
Got his first 2 shots of the season so far.
David Wesley just never got a handle on that basketball. Moochie comes up with it. And misses. Any tweaking you see that Jeff Van Gundy might be doing, or is it too early to panic? Ryan Gomes goes to the basket.
Well, I think Van Gundy is definitely trying to find some guys who will mesh together on the court, some guys who can get some offense when Tracy is not out there. Rockets look great when Tracy McGrady's playing. Really struggle to score when he's not out there. Obviously, Tracy's one of the best players in the league, and that's going to be an obvious thing to say, but when he's not in the game and you can't ride a guy like Tracy McGrady 40 minutes a game for 82 games a season, you're going to have to give him some rest and find a way to score some points.
Well, I'm sure that Jeff Van Gundy is looking forward to the rest of this road trip, and of course there's no sense having McGrady out there when you're 20 points down, coming off of a spectacular performance last night. So Tracy only 28 minutes tonight, and I think that's wise because he just had a shot and he's been resting that sore back.
Well, he said before the game that his back felt okay, but that he was very tired. And he's not all the way back into game shape, and And when Jeff Van Gundy sensed that the Celtics were not going to let the Rockets back into the game, he did a very smart thing by resting Tracy.
Traveling called on Delonte West.
And that's really a tough decision sometimes for a coach, because I'm sure Tracy McGrady wanted to play. You know, Tracy's such a competitor. He's like, put me out there. But as a coach, you've got to be smart enough to say, you know what, not tonight.
You travel.
And a foul is called on Boston.
Stromile Swift playing a very nice game tonight. 7 for 10, 17 points, 4 rebounds. I would expect to see Stromile get a few more minutes after tonight's performance.
Well, as we talked about, it's a long season. There'll be some tweaking here and there by the Rockets. I don't think he's really settled on his rotation yet for this season.
I agree with that. I think he's still trying to find the right combination, and then you've got to have guys that come off the bench and can play well together too, and I don't think he's got that figured out either.
Rockets have missed 13 free throws tonight. 63%. And that's a team, the Rockets came into this game number 8 in the NBA in free throw shooting. And they're going to leave this game probably around number 18. So that's going to do it. The Boston Celtics getting off to a great start. Rafe LaFrentz hitting his first 7 three-pointers of the game. And he finishes with 32 points. And the Celtics take it to the Houston Rockets and win it tonight 102-82. I want you to tune in for our next telecast. It'll be Tuesday night. Rockets travel to Minnesota to take on Kevin Garnett and the Timberwolves. Coverage beginning at 6:30 on FSN Houston. Stay tuned now. The Busch Light Southwest Sports Report is next.
First, let's go back to Beantown and show you how the Rockets fell tonight to the ball. 102-82. First quarter, Rafe LaFrentz just going 4 for 4 from behind the arc. Finishing the quarter with 14 points, LaFrentz matches the entire Rockets output from the quarter. 28-14 Celts after one. Second quarter, though, Rockets come back. Celtics defending the alley-oop. Stromile Swift picking it up, and he slams it down. Part of a 14-2 Rockets surge. Houston down just 8 later in the second. Celtics running. Delonte West layup blocked. But LaFrentz is there for the follow-up jam. LaFrentz 27 first-half points. Celtics up 11 at the break. In the third, great Rocket ball movement. Yao finds Swift for the slam. He had a great night, one of the few bright spots for the Rockets, but the Celtics would be too much. Paul Pierce past T-Mac, and he delivers the facial over Yao. Jeff Van Gundy not pleased, and the Rockets lose big, 102-82. They are now 2-4 on the year. Meantime, the Celtics 3-3 on the year. Rafe LaFrentz 32 points on 7 of 9 from three-point range. Tracy McGrady just in his second game back off of that injury. 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 turnovers. Yao Ming 14 points, 10 rebounds, get a double-double from Yao. Nonetheless, though, the Rockets do fall tonight. And we head back now to Boston and check in with Bill Worrell and Matt Bullard. Guys, Jeff Van Gundy did not look pleased at the end of this game.
Well, he didn't, Emily, and he probably wished it was the Mavericks out here instead of the Rockets, because the way that Rafe LaFrentz took it to Houston, he was obviously the man that Jeff Van Gundy chose to leave open in the defensive scheme of things, and when LaFrentz was through with 7 of 7 from the three-point line, the Rockets were finished.
Well, you know, the Rockets come out, they've got Paul Pierce they've got to defend, they've got Ricky Davis that they have to defend, and so the Rockets did an excellent job in the first half, I thought, shutting those two guys down. What they didn't count on was Rafe LaFrentz coming in and shooting the lights out, and that was the end of the game, I thought, in the first half when Rafe LaFrentz was just knocking them down.
Yeah, he tied his career high of 32 points, and the Rockets never could seem to recover from that because they couldn't make any baskets.
Yeah, it's tough to win games if you can't score, and the Rockets did not shoot well tonight. They only had 11 assists. They had 20 turnovers. Really a poor game, I thought, on the offensive end for the Rockets, and the Rockets' defense is their bread and butter, but if you can't score points, you can't win games.
Well, now you go to Minnesota. The Rockets will have a day off tomorrow. I don't know if Jeff will practice, probably not. as he'll try to get their legs back under him again to take on Kevin Garnett and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the Rockets, Emily, will try to get back in the win column.
Well, there you have it. The Houston Rockets falling to 2-4 on the year after a 102-82 loss to the Boston Celtics tonight. They were down 11 at the half and never really could make a game of it. That large deficit at the half was due largely to Rafe LaFrentz having 27 points in the first half. He finished with 32. Nonetheless, the Rockets with the loss. And here's what Jeff Van Gundy had to say after the game.
Hustle, heart, will, quickness, speed, intensity, passion.
So what led to the turnovers, just that desire to get to them?
No, they did a great. They were great. I give them credit. But what separated the two teams was those things right there. But they played a great game. They deserved the margin of victory was much higher than it turned out to be. They took it easy on us.